I'm gonna kind of call us to order. I'll read the remote meeting procedures. This meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance will be remote, and remote attendance shall count toward quorum. It will also be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. I see them here. You all know how to use Zoom, so I'm going to skip that. While conducting meetings remotely, we'll endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. However, using this platform will necessitate some additional protocols. While the board members are on video, public participants will join the webinar as attendee. I don't see any attendees right now. They'll be muted with no video feed. During public testimony portion of the meetings, public can be recognized by using their hand found under the participants from Zoom, or you can make a request during Q&A. If you're joining by phone, press 9 and raise your hand. We will see you, hopefully. There's a markup function on Zoom. I don't anticipate any presentations, but you could use that at some point if you need to. Yes, my dogs are walking down the stairs, and they sound like a elephant just came down. As in any public meeting, indecent behavior will not be tolerated. Anybody who abuses the meeting platform will be terminated from that meeting. Business will be handled at the times indicated on the agenda. Business not concluded at the allotted time will be tabled to the end of the meeting to allow for timely logins and remote attendance. Board members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion and second so that it will be clear to the audience and minute takers. That means you, Kelly. I'm sure you'll all be happy if folks announce who they are. All votes will be by roll call. When the business indicated on the agenda has been completed, members will vote to adjourn the meeting, signaling the end of the meeting and the termination of the ECAT recording. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. So that's all I got. If somebody, I'm keeping my eye on the participants, but sometimes I miss it. So first on the agenda is review and approve the minutes. So we didn't have a meeting last week or last month. I think it was just absolutely hectic for folks. So we're going back to, what is this, April? So these would be the January minutes.
February. Yeah.
February. Yep. Right. I forgot about March, even though April is the cruelest month. Okay. So February, anybody have review and approve those minutes? I have a motion.
No, I have a comment. We need to change the attendance. So Marina was present, but Amira was not. And Amira is not listed one way or the other.
Okay. So Kelly, will you be able to make that change?
Yes. So Amira was present and
no, Marina was present.
Was present. Okay.
And then you need to add Amira to not present.
Not present. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, with that change, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Foster. Second. Can I get a second?
Durant, second.
All right. So
Marjorie, yes.
Ornstein, yes.
Devonshire, yes.
Durant, yes.
Emmons, yes. Clevenger, yes.
Foster, yes.
Is that all of us? All right. Boom. Language change. Have folks had an opportunity? Kiana, we got you, right?
Yep. Emmons, yes.
Language change. Have folks had an opportunity to review the language that was attached? I can pull it up as well.
I think it would be good to pull it up.
Yes. I don't understand why my emails disappear. Hold up. Okay. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why my toggle is there, but it is. Okay. So to promote Easton's vision of a community that has its core values, freedom from bigotry, hatred, intolerance, and disrespect, to build a stronger, more unified town that respects and recognizes both our diversity and our commonalities.
Can I just interrupt for a minute?
Yep.
That's our original language. So we had initially drafted positive language
Right.
that had not been shared with the rest of the committee.
Okay.
And then there was a decision that perhaps keeping the original language might be good currently, and maybe at a later point in time, adjusting what's publicly available to more positive language might
Okay.
be more prudent.
So right now, what I have up here is so this isn't changing, but the membership language would be changing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we can certainly discuss that, but I just want to make it clear that that language is the original language.
So it's
I
more,
agree with that reasoning though, Liz. But maybe that's a change for another time.
okay. I don't think it's all that. So that stays, and then it just comes membership 7, maximum of 12, goes to 13. Membership shall include. I know that this we just renamed as there was an update and change. One member of the school committee. This is the language about the student from Oliver Ames appointed by the select board. Town of Easton civil rights officer. So Phil stayed on as a full voting member. And then we have the at-large members as well.
Can you go back down?
Yep.
Thank you. I just want to read, because we've got the student from Oliver Ames and then a student member at large.
And the at-large members.
All right, when she was scrolling through it quick, it looked like we had 2 students listed.
Yeah. I think it's just the length of their terms. At large is 3, school committee, select, and the student are 1-year terms. So select board, school committee, and school, those are just 1 year. Everybody else is 3.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. And I'm bringing, and I feel like, I can't see you all, so it's more difficult for me. We have the responsibilities. We have our responsibilities kind of spelled out here. One of the things in which I wonder about, Michelle, I think you had mentioned once that there was an attendance requirement on one of the committees in which you sat on. Is that true?
An attendance? You
Like
mean,
you had to, the members had to commit to X amount of meetings, so you couldn't miss more than 3 meetings in a row.
I know, I believe anyway, on the rec commission that you can't miss more than 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I recall that for Human Rights Committee, but I don't recall why or where, but I recall it was, you can't miss more than 3 in a calendar year.
And I don't see.
That wouldn't be in our charge.
Okay. Is it just when you sign or when you sit? Sorry, my dog just stole something. Is it when you kind of agree to become a member?
Beth, can you go back to the full screen of people?
Well, if somebody wants to take this for a second. I'm going to go find out what my dog is.
All right.
I am looking up to see what I might have historically on this.
I thought when you joined, you were told that you couldn't miss more than 3 in a calendar year. Not consecutive, 3 in a calendar year.
Right. Let's see.
But it might have been more of an expectation versus
Right.
a requirement.
Yeah.
I can double check with the town too. For some reason, I thought it was in, it was in the charge, but I couldn't find it, so.
No, and I want to say that there is another document that I don't have an electronic
Okay,
version of, but that was sort of like, oh my God, my brain is going. What is our internal operating agreement
it's OPs?
called? No, corporation.
Charter?
No. Anyways, I
Yelling words at Liz.
it'll get there. But I thought that we had an internal document like that to talk about procedures and not just our charge and what we're designed to do. I don't have an electronic copy. I'm not sure why that is, but I feel like I had a paper copy that I had passed along to Karen. So that's a good question for the town. Did that
Okay.
exist at any point? Was that from like the really first iteration of the committee pre-2016? Because I have no electronic record of that. Because
Yeah.
yes, I know that existed because we had gone through it at different points in time for what the procedures were to remove a member who was non-responsive and not attending.
Okay,
So that's a town question.
yeah, I'll ask the town about that. That sounds
Yeah.
good. Okay. Okay. So that is separate. So let's go back. Do folks need me to share my screen again? In case people were wondering, my dog had a car's car in his mouth that he was attempting to eat. So,
Just to make you feel better, we can't actually hear any of that.
oh, you can't?
No.
Oh. Well, aren't we lucky?
You're not giving him enough attention.
No, that's exactly. He's like a toddler when you get onto the telephone. It's awful.
But don't pick on that good boy.
Yeah, that's right. Kelly has met him in the past. He's naughty. All right, hold on. I'm just trying to find it. All right, here we go. Can you all see that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if we clean this up, we didn't change anything else. We just kind of put it in here with the change in membership.
Looks good to me.
Looks good.
All right. So, does anybody want to call?
So do we expect this to be for the next year, for 2025, 26?
The next process would be to give it to the Board of Selectmen, our recommendation, and then Craig, can you speak more about that?
Yeah, that would be presented to the select board, or actually to Dottie, and then she would put it on the agenda. I'm not sure what the schedule is. I do know that we are heavily involved in the budget discussion coming up to May 19th for town meeting. So I don't know what the agenda looks like, but as soon as you can get it together and get it to Dottie, or send it to Elizabeth Hagg at the select board's office, and ask her to talk with Connor and Dottie about putting it on the agenda.
I should be able to do that tonight, if not tomorrow. So,
It certainly makes sense to target the OA student for the fall
Yeah.
as opposed to June or whenever this finally gets the final approval.
You know, I wonder, we can say that we have this proposed change, so we might be able to reach out to them anyway and just say we're waiting, you know, because I would assume that even if the select board doesn't take our recommendation, no pressure, Craig, that we could at least just ask, right? And it's just advertisement, because then it would just go back to an at-large seat, right? Which we would have, and certainly we could. Bylaws, Liz, that's it, right?
Yeah.
I will get a copy. Okay. All right, sounds good. When I
That's that's also a good reminder, like everyone should have a copy of the bylaws as members, in addition to an updated roster, maybe when we fill any vacant positions.
Okay.
I'm wondering if, just following up on what you said if we can't find an OA student, it would revert to an at-large member. Should we put that verbiage in?
Well, there's still an at-large membership. You know what I mean? So if they're not going to be that specific OA student could still sit on it. They would just be the at-large member.
Yeah, but I think what you're suggesting is if within maybe 1 or 2 months we can't fill the position, should we revert it to an at-large position? Because I think we need all hands on deck these days.
Yeah. My hope would be that
we could say that could be worded. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Beth.
Oh, no, go ahead.
That could be worded such as for that position with preference given to an OA student.
I don't know if you can say the preference.
I think we have to say, and if it's unfilled, then it's just going to impact quorum, right? Just as if the civil rights officer, then we'll go down, because it says a max of X. So if we can't get that student, then we're just going to not meet the max. We're kind of what we're doing right now with the Amy being gone, is our membership's just going to go down from there.
That makes sense.
So we should be able to hold that.
I agree.
All right. So do I have a somebody who might want to approve the language change?
So moved.
Second.
Ornstein, so moved. Foster, second. We can go around.
Marjorie, yes.
Bornstein, yes.
Devonshire, yes.
Durance, yes.
Emmons, yes.
Berenger, yes.
Foster, yes.
All right.
This is hysterical that we stop at F. When in Kathy's life has she been the end of the alphabet?
All right. So on to the next. HRC collaborations. So these are just check-ins from the different committees or folks on town. Admittedly, the Mass HRC Coalition, I have sent kind of the notes in the past. It's just during the day on a Friday. Work has been incredibly busy. There's no way that I can sneak away. So if somebody can and volunteer, I'm more than happy to send along the sign in. If not, then I will just continue to send the minutes. So no pressure there. But as far as I know, there's no update, because I haven't attended. The Easton Shared Mission Group, I think that's you, Bob. Anything there?
Well, we've been having trouble getting together for meetings. We had a meeting scheduled for yesterday, and then last minute that got canceled. And so it looks like we're going to meet this month. They've given us a series of dates, and so Joe Petty, just letting him make a decision on when we're going to meet. And it's going to be we're going to have it at the NRT. I don't know, one of the buildings there. So
Great.
So we'll keep you posted on that.
All right.
I tell you that you may already know this, but that the the community programming led by Joe Pitti has been recognized by the Massachusetts Recreation and Parks Association for the 2025 Regional Community Impact of the Year Award for the South Shore.
Wow.
That's great.
Just to pat Joe on the back there, and acknowledge.
I'll pat him on the back with my pickleball paddle, which he puts together. So I'm grateful for it. All right. Michelle, you have anything from Superintendent Advisory Committee? I think they canceled last time.
Well, they
but-
canceled last Monday, but we had one yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So it was not a big agenda. It was more like, she said, what questions do you have? Because we all had questions about what's going on in the schools. And she just kind of went through the timeline, starting with the pace and working through. She talked about the dates for the this Thursday, the school committee is having their public budget hearing in the auditorium at OA. So if anybody would like to go. And then the 17th, the school committee will vote on their budget. And then we got into more of the nitty gritty about what's happening with the layoffs versus, I believe she said 22 people took the early resignation. It's not early retirement. And that was important language that she wanted to make sure we all knew. It was early resignation, and then I believe another 20-ish or so were in the round of layoffs. And then this week, so we met on Monday. And Monday they sent out a list of open vacancies for voluntary transfers. So teachers, paras and whatnot would have the opportunity to voluntarily transfer to an open spot. And they have until 4:00 on Wednesday. They have a 48-hour window based on their contract. And then whatever happens or doesn't happen with that, they might move on to involuntary transfers. They started this process with Unit A, which is teachers and paras, and then they will move on to secretaries and custodians, but they hadn't started that yet. So she said it's kind of like a series of things that'll be going on. And then, I don't know if Craig will talk to this, but on April 29th, the school department will present their budget to the joint select board and FinCom, which they do every year. And that'll be, where is that going to be, Craig? I didn't write down.
You know, I'm blanking on where it's got to have to be in. It may be at OA's auditorium also, but I can find that out because we expect there's going to be a large turnout.
As in the past, it's been at Frothingham, but I'm thinking that's not going to hold.
No, that's not going to hold a lot of people.
That's not
No.
going to hold a lot of people.
Yeah,
So
right.
a location to be determined, but April 29th.
And that's a regular process that we go through every year for the budget. It's
Right.
nothing new. It's just this year it's a little bit more dramatic, if you will.
I'm trying to think. And she just reminded us about the town meeting on May 19th. And then depending on what happens with that, there might be a special election. Well, what happens with that is relative to the override. A special election on June 10th. Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, Craig. That's what I think.
Correct.
I said. And that was really what we talked about. There were a lot of questions about that. You know, if you're not in the education system, and the whole contract language can get very quirky and weird and not really make a lot of sense on the surface. And there's a lot of misinformation out on Facebook. Surprise. So,
Yeah, I tried to put something out that was more fact-based.
yeah.
I think it's important. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Michelle.
I'm hoping people come on the 3rd and ask the questions. You know, whether they like the answers or not, at least ask the source rather than 10 people making up a story. on Facebook.
Yeah, I was going to say that I thought was important. Think it's important for people to go to the April 3rd meeting. One, to hear what the impact of a balanced budget will be on the schools, but also to counter some of the misinformation that's out there. And also, it's important to me to be supportive of the school committee, which are going to have to make some very difficult decisions. And I think it's important to be there to support them, reminding people that we're all volunteers, and that we're all taxpayers in the town of Easton. And that is a difficult decision that we have to make. And we will be, part of the process is going to be 2 different budgets are going to be presented at the town meeting. So people have to understand what is happening. And I'm hoping that people are going to be civil and ask legitimate questions. But I think the more people there to support the school committee, the better it's going to be. I know
How
that.
does that work, Craig? Like, do they do the non-override budget and then the override budget, or vice versa? Like, how does that work?
It's gonna be, by law, we have to have a balanced budget. So that's gotta be number one. It's a balanced budget, which will be the one that, lays out all the consequences of a balanced budget in this day and age. And then the second budget would be the one that, if the override passes, what that means. And that's why there's been some confusion going forward, because the actual wording for the override has to be worked out, because what does it mean for the $7.2 million override? How's the money going to impact the school budget, the town budget, et cetera?
What time is that meeting on Thursday?
7 o'clock, I believe. Isn't it 7 o'clock, Michelle?
The school committee's at 6.
Oh, it's 6, I'm sorry.
Okay.
In
thank you.
person?
Yes.
In person at the high school.
Yeah, the auditorium at the high school.
So that's the third vote on the budget on April 17th, right?
Correct.
When it will be presented. The 29th, it gets presented to, school, sorry.
For
the
Board of
FinCom. Okay.
That's everybody's budget gets presented at that, the 29th.
29th.
And you guys are doing it all in one night this year?
Yeah,
Bring your pillow.
yeah. And bring a few other things too.
Right? Usually it's done like over, one group goes one night, one group goes one.
Yeah.
Good, done. All right. Well, thanks, Michelle. That's helpful. Easton Climate Change, I think that there's a pause. That's the committee that Amy had kind of sat in on. I'm going to reach out and just make sure that there hasn't been anything. I'm almost positive not.
There's a pause on that, Beth.
Yeah, that's what I.
The focus right now is on the budgets and the potential override.
Yeah, and the same master plan update committee, we're pausing as well and letting Pace kind of take some of the oxygen that folks are, especially this time of year, they're a little wiped out. So we'll resume. I think I just saw the calendar. It might be May or June, but we'll go from there. And so much is just impacted on what we can do budget-wise. So we're kind of up in the air until we have that. And then the Mass Human Rights Coalition I mentioned before, just haven't had time on Fridays. It's just a tough time to sit on. So some of the events that I wanted to go over, and actually I think y'all saw the email in the email I had mentioned, there was something from Carol's as well about the possible cuts to the positions. That was just more there. So that will also be on the 3rd and the 17th. So when we get to the events, there's 3 things. I just found out, I was just reminded of one today. Amy had forwarded it along to me. So let's do those 2 and then we can kind of go to Pride. So the STEAM event is on May 3rd 6:30 to 8. This is at Blanche Ames. We did it last year. I think we had a table of some sort. I want to say
30th,
Ames
right?
was there. What did you say, Michelle?
You said the 30th, right?
Yeah, 30th. Oh, did I say the 3rd? Yeah, no, sorry. The
You
3rd.
said the 3rd, that's why. It's the 30th.
So May 30th, the STEAM event. Anyone want to volunteer to table and come up with an amazing,
When is it again?
May 30th.
The Friday.
May 30th, oh.
Where and when?
Blanche Ames. So, Bob, you would get to go see the new school. I know, it's exciting. 6:30 to 8, but set up probably around 5:30.
I certainly don't mind helping with that. I'll be there anyway, probably.
Great.
But I would love somebody to come with me.
Yeah, I could probably come.
Okay.
Michelle,
If the tables gets busy, it's nice to have more than one person to help.
Yeah.
great. I will let folks know. And then, how did it work in the past? Did you all do something with the students, or what kind of?
You know, Amy did it last year.
Yeah, we were there. They did, God, it was a color. I have the picture. It was an art activity, but it created, you know, how she's always like creating something.
Yes. All right. Well,
It had to do with the shape.
I trust that two of the educators in the room will be able to come up with a age-appropriate STEM activity for this event.
It's geared to pre-K to grade 2. So the event.
This is why Liz and I won't be there, because we would be having them read contracts, which is probably not nearly as exciting for
So
them.
Bob, I'll reach out to you through email. And we
Okay, great.
All right. We also, Denise Lane had reached out from RMK. The 8th grade, right now they're just in the planning, no date yet. 8th grade Cultural Day Planning Committee. Would anyone like to volunteer for that?
You know, I think we need to reserve all our resources for Pride,
Okay.
because
I do have some calls to the bullpen in for Pride. So I've got Allie, Karen, and Kathy Adler coming all the way from Sharon to help out. So, but I hear you.
Also, those might be good asks for our ally list.
Yeah. For the Cultural Day planning? All right.
For both, actually.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
I would think
So-
with the pride,
wait,
it would be
so what
a
am I,
priority.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, what am I asking?
If we have somebody from, if Michelle and Bob are fine, just kind of coming up with an event and for the 30th, then we're good. This
Okay,
is more, do we have somebody who wants to jump on the 8th grade Cultural Day Planning Committee? So that, I agree with you, Liz, that's a great avenue for an ally. And I can forward it. Kathy,
okay,
do me a favor, shoot me an email and I'll forward you exactly what they're looking for.
okay, good.
Sound good?
Yep.
All right.
And the same thing with the pride.
Yes.
Well,
Same
we're
thing
not
with the
there
pride
yet.
events.
Craig, you're stealing my thunder. All right, so now we're
I
on,
apologize.
that's all right. So now we're on Pride, right? And so I have a little bit of a list. Karen and I had gone for a walk, and we were kind of ferreting out different issues, right? So if we kind of, I'm just going to volunteer all of you right now as the subcommittee. Right. So this is kind of how I'm thinking of breaking it down. So vendors, right? And this year we actually have money thanks to Kathy writing that grant. So one of the issues that we've had in the past is when we want to have a food truck, they say, well, how much can you give me? And we say, just a really hearty thanks. And they can't do that, right? So now we can actually look to vendors, or we can, oh my God. We can look to food trucks and say, hey, we have X amount of dollars. So, Michelle, I hate to volunteer you, but I will. I know that you worked with food truck vendors in the past for different projects. Do you mind reaching out to some and just seeing?
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to.
All right, can I just take a step back?
Sure,
I feel
Kathy.
like we need a overriding committee that meets with Amy and gets all the details.
I've been trying to meet with Amy I'm just trying to,
She's really busy right now.
yeah, she's got just a ton of stuff on her plate. So meeting with Amy is not in the cards right now. So I think
I don't think we can do it without that.
I trust that I can get the things that we need, but we can't wait for Amy. And I do have a pretty good list because we still have her board and everything else that we've come up with that we can go forward, right? So I don't want to put all that pressure on Amy either, that if she can't meet with us, then it's not going to go forward. I think if we can look, and she absolutely has the contacts, and we need to reach out to her for that, and we need to make sure that we have it. But like, we already have the police detail, right? That's all set. So we know that. I've already worked with the town on, I'm going next week and about the road closures, and I can work with the other folks about trash removal and all of that. We can work with the, library and children's museum, trying to come up with some sort of reading book. I can reach out to my friend Lena, who always DJs, or Kathy Kidd, right? Amy has the list of the vendors. I just don't have it, but I think that we can get it from her, right? Advertising, we have the signs, we know where they were. We might have to order new signs, right? So I have a list of everything that we need to do. I can try and, let me see if I can share it here. I hear you, Kathy. I understand, but
I feel like there's at least 6 different subcommittees that somebody has to take a responsibility for. And they're big, and you won't know how to do it. Like, if you tell me do fundraising, I couldn't do it all because I don't know where it all
the
is.
good news is we don't
Or
have
you
to
tell me
fight.
do vendors. I think there's vendors, there's food vendors, there's entertainment, there's setting up that whole site. There is, yeah. So we can distribute it and try to do it without her, but I think it's going to be really hard.
I don't disagree with that. I just don't want to, and maybe we do have to call it at some point. I'm just not ready to call it at this point.
Okay.
Right? I think once we can try and get everything coordinated, once, Amy is able to meet with folks, or even just me, right? However it is, I think we'll be pretty decent. I just sent it to my voicemail. Of course it's not going through, but I have like a note that I can share with some folks. That's why I said, this is our subcommittee, right? If other folks want to join along, that would be great. And I can assign certain tasks. Some of them are already done. We don't have to wait with them. And
The big ones aren't done.
like what?
Vendors.
Yeah, the vendors, and I think that's a matter of, we need, Michelle has a bunch of vendors that she has worked with in the past for
Craft fair?
for food, right? In not hometown, All Fresh, we sign them on 2 weeks before, right? So, and I know that was not perfect, so I don't disagree that there's food vendors and then there's the regular vendors. We need all the list of vendors that Amy has. I don't disagree with that.
Vendors meaning food vendors or arts, or what kind of vendors you talking
I
about?
think if Michelle can handle the food vendors,
Because the
right?
town has a list of all the food trucks that have permits.
I think
Yeah,
food is
perfect.
easier than the other vendors.
I don't disagree.
I think
Yep.
we can start with who was there last year. They all seem to do
Yep.
very well, and will probably want to come back.
So
Yeah.
do we have a list of those?
At the very least, I have pictures of every car because I took pictures. I know Alltown. I know the pizza guy. There was an ice cream person, the lemonade person.
Okay, but what about the other vendors?
There's a
We
list.
need to get it from Amy. It's that simple.
We got to give Amy some grace right now. Like, we'll get there. We'll get it.
But I can also try and get, access to the master planner, but I think most of the contacts, Amy actually had those herself. Right? And I'll reach out again and just ask for permit, like just if she can send the folder. She doesn't even have to meet, right? And we can kind of just go from there. But the other things are already being managed. I don't disagree that the regular vendors is probably one of the biggest pieces of it.
You can find that document she shared with everyone. So she used as like her planning.
Yeah.
So,
And who was it? I was talking to the other day. I was talking to somebody from the Tricentennial, and they basically said, let us know and we'll help you promote. Right, so our advertisement, I think, is super helpful. You know, that piece might be somebody else.
So I think at least we need to identify what the major tasks are, and somebody has to assume a leadership role of those tasks. And we have to do it now. It's April.
I don't disagree. I have it on my phone. I'm trying to share with you right now. My phone is not talking to my computer. But what I can do is I can send this out to folks and just say that this is the subcommittee, right?
No, I think we have to do it right now. Everybody has to just step up.
All right, well, I can,
Because we know there's food vendors.
so why don't
Right.
you write the vendors, food vendors, so we
There's
have.
art, there's the
Michelle.
whatever other.
Well, why don't I go
vendors
through
there
what
are.
I have, because I have it right now. So, Michelle, we have food vendors, right? We have health information, so health information, schools, clubs, services, so RMK, all those folks who in the past have helped out, right? So I think one year Wheaton came, there's been, the YMCA has come, RMK has come. Can somebody volunteer to reach out to those folks?
You know what? Let's go over all of them because I think there's some that are bigger than others.
Okay, so so products and gifts, we got to get that list from Amy and go from there. Coordination from the town, I'm on it. I've already been doing it. Police detail, on it, already been doing it. Library and Children's Museum, if somebody wants to reach out and do the library stuff.
Do we have larger buckets, Beth, we could put
Yeah.
these into?
Yes.
Well, I got
Thank you.
library, restaurants and local businesses, advertising, beanery fundraiser, volunteers, entertainment. Those are the large buckets.
So I think
Okay.
the big one is fundraising because that's a huge one. There's
When
As
you
you
talk
said-
about fundraising, Kathy, let's,
What do we?
because we have money in the budget. is that-
Right.
Okay. Plus you always can come to the select board for money, the Stonehill money for help that way. So what's the fundraising part?
Well, there are some people who I think really like to be part of it. For example, the real estate lady, Bella. She has always been one of our biggest promoters, and she always gives $1,000, and we do a big sign, and she has a thing. So I think there are people who want to be part of that. But if we don't want to do fundraising, that's great. Let's just skip it.
No, I think the fundraising's fine, right? But again, Amy has the contact with that person.
So let's just get the list of what the possible things are, and then we can talk about if we're
Well, I just sent you
prioritizing
my
them.
note. I just sent you my note if you can open it.
How did you send it to me?
Text.
Okay, that's not going to help. I'm just going to keep it here on the computer right now so we can all see it at the same time. So one was a fundraising bucket for any number, like necessity versus community partnership. Another thing I heard was outreach to, was this community booths you were talking about, like Wheaton and others coming?
Well,
Or is it just vendors as a large
I think we just do
category?
vendors as a large piece, right? And then we break it into the different types of vendors. Because that's how we classified them in the past. They were classified as vendors.
I just put a link to the Pride sign list from last year in the chat, and I'm working on Amy's document.
So I think that then there is physical logistics, setting it all up. You know, it's like the porta potties and where all the vendors go and that whole thing. And then there's the entertainment.
So the entertainment in the past has been Lena, and then I can reach out to folks if we need that as well.
Well, remember we've had a couple of different musicians. We had
We had Dave
the
Kidd.
high school students.
Yeah,
We had a variety, and dance students. We've had a variety
Yeah.
of different things.
Yeah,
So
the
that, I
dance
think that's a
is
bigger
good.
topic than just Lena.
Kathy?
yeah, no, I'm fine. I think we had dancers.
I'm sorry, I'm a little
No.
stressed about this.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
are there other large
uh,
categories than these four?
Town,
The food vendors.
Fundraising, outreach, physical logistics.
well, I think we have town coordination.
Is that separate than physical logistics?
I think it's the same. But it can be, I think it can be wrapped into that.
I'll just put town logistics, such as permitting. Is this what we're talking about?
And where the
Permit.
police stand and where the barriers are.
Police details, trash,
Got it.
signage, all that fun stuff. So that's Sean Dugan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what else. There might be other things.
Volunteers.
Yeah, there's volunteers, and she also prints a lot of things.
Yeah.
Well, both publicity and also, remember we do the beanery and all that.
So that would be under fundraising.
Okay. But I feel like she's always doing signs. Yeah.
Well, and Michelle put in the,
Maybe you
Yeah.
can attach that link to the word signs in this document.
that's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah. Well.
And I'm working on, I know that there was like a job list.
Okay. So,
And the other thing is it's like a subsidiary, but it's like taking care of all the money, paying for the people, bringing the money in, etc. The treasury stuff.
And that goes through the town, correct, Kathy?
But somebody has to do it on our end.
Yeah.
it's fine. Big
Like, so all the
categories. We'll figure out
invoices, Yeah.
who's doing what in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to take this pause right now to mean that we have largely hit the large categories of things to do. And we can double check this against whatever job list Michelle has, whatever notes Beth has. But as a rough, making sure someone is overseeing all of these, is this an okay place to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Beth, why don't we start with you about what you feel you can be the point person on.
All right. And I'm going to share this as well. Oh, jeez.
All right, you want me to stop?
Yeah. So let me, right here. So food, health promotion. So these are more details. So if let's go back to yours, Liz, and then we can kind of fill in.
Yeah, I think the fill-in can happen a little bit later. I think
Yeah.
Kathy's point is like someone
let's
needs
just
to
get
be
it
the
done.
point
Yep.
person, right? And then you can
Yep.
figure out. Okay.
So I can be point on. I can do the physical logistics because I've already been doing those. Entertainment.
Don't take more than you can do.
I'm not. Believe me, I am not.
Physical logistics is a big thing. She went and mapped everything out the night before. There's a lot to do.
But I also think if we can get her book, we don't have to reinvent wheels either.
Okay.
All right. So you start with what you're already in the process of doing or have done in the past. So
Right.
physical logistics, entertainment.
And in the past, I've done the volunteers. Which is literally just emailing people.
Okay, but then don't you have to see who said yes and assign them tasks and things like that?
Yep. So you set up the sign up sheet, like the sign up genius.
Okay.
I have a 2023 sponsor letter. I don't find one for 2024. We probably use the same one. I'm just trying to figure out how to get it to you guys.
Okay, Kathy, let's do you next. Are there any large categories here that you already feel comfortable with?
Clearly, I'm going to do the treasury stuff.
Yep. Stupid bars in the way. Okay. Anything else that comes to mind initially? Otherwise, like, we're going to do all the easy stuff first. Someone say, like, yes, that's obviously me.
Kelly posted in the chat, she can check with the library, children's museum, and beanery.
Okay, but again, we're just doing point
No, I'm looking at
now.
I'm trying to find the big bucket for.
Okay, Michelle, for you, because I know you've been involved in the past, any large categories you have expertise in or want expertise in, or pass for the moment?
I could definitely, I was doing the food vendors. If somebody else is getting the other vendors, I can certainly help, I can help with that, and I can also help map it out. So I did the craft fair every year for 6 years by myself.
Okay, I will just add you here on the mapping. All right, but we're going to keep the big categories. Okay. Now I need to scroll on Zoom. Who else? All right, Bob, Kiana, Craig, Kelly. Were any of the four of you directly involved in the past such that these are familiar or desirable large buckets? All right, no for Kiana. Bob, Craig, Kelly.
Well, I was involved last year, but either way, it was just sort of helping out in any way I could that day.
Worker bee. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I really don't. I'll help set up with what I.
Okay. I will take the outreach to community vendors, right? So other people who might want tables there for something. I can head that up.
So Liz, part of that is going to be getting that town agreement that we have to get and having them sign it.
Okay.
What town agreement are you talking about, Catherine?
It's something that the town requires that they sign.
It's pretty easy. The town actually, they were good last year about actually sending it.
Yeah, they were better the year before. It had been a problem in the past. I think we've got that solved.
Okay. So that'll be the next step, to make sure all of the right small tasks go under each bucket and we don't lose any of those small tasks.
So
Kathy, I just put the sponsor letter in the chat.
And I think the good news is because we have money, there's less of a kind of lift in that area, right? And maybe it's great if we can, but I'm thinking priority wise, we just might not be able to do it to that same effect of sponsors.
So the two things that don't have point people right now are fundraising and all the printing. So number 1 and number 7.
But Beth, are you stating that we don't need to do fundraising due to the fact that we have the money?
I'm saying that if we do fundraising, it's great, but I'm thinking that that's not, like, fundraising, I think the beanery, right? Like, of course we should do that. We have some folks in the past who have always been donors. I think Kathy had mentioned the
real estate
person. You know, if we have some of those other folks that have given in the past, might be good. But last year, we split the fundraising into like 4 people. I don't think we have to put as much of an emphasis on it this year because we actually have money going in.
So last year we charged vendors. So that was also a money raising thing.
Okay. Do you remember what we charged?
I think it was $35, but I'm not sure.
So I'm thinking that the fundraising this year at least is a little less than it has been in the past. Beanery, easy, some of the.
I'm happy to write that. I think I have a list of the people who gave us money last year, and I could write each of them
Yeah,
to see if they want to continue to fundraise. For Bella, we had to have a sign, but we have the sign. We just have to get it from Amy. So, all right, I swore I wasn't going to volunteer for this one task I hate, but I will.
So here's the other thing. You can be the delegator because, well, no, seriously. So this is an ask for allies, right? And then it becomes a priority list, right? So maybe it becomes like Beth, something where if we don't have the person power to do it, then we start prioritizing.
right.
Well,
And
we
the-
have to spend
the Beanery
$2,500 on the
list-
task, on the thing anyway to complete our grant, so.
Yeah.
The lift is easy. As far as the Beanery, they kind of take care of everything. You just tell them when the event is,
Yeah.
and they make the magic happen with the glitter and your lemonade. So,
I also think, Kathy, once we do like, a fuller round through this, and the point person's like, I'll oversee it, but I don't want to do that job. Those are specific asks that can go out to the ally list. Like sometimes it's easier to say we need someone to do task X, as well as having, like Bob, like the worker bee category, and what Kelly said, like, I'll go wherever you need me. I know you're skeptical about people's.
No, I'm fine. I've
Yeah,
never seen anybody on the ally list step up, but okay. But we still need
Right,
somebody.
which might be accurate.
Number 7 is a really important one, though. In
Mhm.
fact, that's the most important one.
Okay. Well, and so then maybe that's a priority, right? Like if we're putting an ask out to the ally list, here
Yeah, but-
is.
No, somebody
yeah.
on this committee has to volunteer to do the publicity for this event.
Mhm.
Because that's a big task.
I don't think that's going to get someone to volunteer.
Okay, it's a little task.
How you say it, Kathy?
It's a very small, easy task.
Yeah.
You're taking back now.
And what is your recollection of what this involves? Is there a design component?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the flyers, there's a Facebook, there's posting things, there's putting things in the newspapers, the town crier.
Okay. So maybe this remains undone at the moment until that job is more articulated, since it doesn't sound like anyone has volunteered to take that on. Not that it's not going to get done, but I mean, and by design, I mean, like, do you have to design logos and stuff, or can we do everything that has been designed in the past?
I think we can do what we had before. It's
Okay.
just getting it, updating it to the right dates, creating a Facebook page and sending stuff out. But it is a lot. It's not a lot. I feel like if we don't have this, why are we doing this event? If we can't publicize it, nobody's going to come.
Does it get its own Facebook page?
Yes.
oh, it was like posted.
Beth, did you have a conversation with Dale Carister at the Tricentennial Group about,
He and I have been playing phone tag.
because that is it's a way to get the word out, is having it as an event. It's not called a primary event, it's called I forget what the
Yeah,
title is.
I remember there's a flyer, those signs we put up, whatever they're called. Yard signs.
yeah. There's the yard signs because that was we couldn't put them on the school last year, so other people had those. We can't. Those have to be reordered because those had the date
Right.
last year.
Yeah. This has to be all updated.
Yeah, and I want to say we didn't get the signs out until maybe May last year.
But that presumes, ordering
You have to
them.
do it before. Yeah, we would
Right, 3
probably
to
want to
4
do it
weeks.
right now. Yeah, we want to have the design in April, which is this month.
All right. So Beth and Michelle, as the chair and vice chair, perhaps you can have conversations with members who aren't here and think about how best to fill number 7.
Yeah,
I can try to help with number 7. I don't think I can do it all, but I can try to help, update flyers and try to make a Facebook page and, stuff like that.
And remember, like, being the point person does not necessarily mean you're doing all of it. You're just ensuring that all of it gets done. Maybe by you, but certainly by others as well. All right. Thank you, Kelly.
What's the date again? June, what's the date for we settle on?
Or
21st.
June 21st?
Yep.
I didn't post the flyer. All right.
And Beth, when you were talking before about Allison Urcioli and Karen Chan being willing to help, right? They probably have expertises in some of these sub areas to help with the execution.
Kathy Adler, she's having surgery, but she volunteered. She said, sign me up to do anything. Just tell me what to do.
Okay. So how about, go ahead, Kathy.
I was going to say, Karen might be good on publicity.
She might be. So I would say at this point, so I have never been on the planning side of Pride, and I think I've only been able to stop in at one Pride. So those who have been more involved in the planning the last couple years should probably consolidate whatever documents, checklists, everything are out there to flesh out each of these categories into what all those specific tasks are. And then the head of each category can figure out, like, yeah, I'll do that, or I don't want to do that, don't have capacity, right? And I need other people to do whatever.
Well, Michelle, do you want to share your screen? Are you in Amy's kind of board?
No, I'm going through emails from Amy where
Okay.
she sent us, like the flyer I'm about to post.
Yeah.
The sign list was just a working document. What else did I put up there? I'm trying to find, there was a Google Doc that she shared with us where, she kept track of like things that had to be done and who was in charge of it. And I'm trying to.
She does it like a trivia board, is
Yeah,
that
that's what I was looking for, the link.
Trello?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
Are you talking a Trello board?
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that, but I know that she.
Me neither.
All right.
So I guess I didn't know what I was looking for either. All right, so here's the flyer. So let me get that shared.
We are absolutely going to need the logos and that so that we can print those out again with the right date.
I'm in the Trello board. Do you want me to,
Oh, you found it?
I did. I just did a find and,
There a link?
I just did a find and search. Hold on one second.
All right, so that's the flyer.
All right.
I don't remember what year it is from. 3rd annual, so I guess that would be last year. So I've given you the sign,
All right.
sponsor letter. Right.
So here's kind of the board. Can you all see it?
So maybe if you send this to everybody
Yeah,
and we
that'll-
can each, based on our little areas of we volunteered for, we can look and see what's there.
But these would be the notes from last year.
Yeah.
Like I would think we'd want to start a fresh one.
Oh, yeah. Have we even talked to Oaks Ames? I just saw Joan Lindgren's name.
I don't believe so. So
Yeah.
They were very supportive last year.
Right.
but they need the date. Yeah. So I think it's,
So that's under logistics.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to help out with logistics with Beth and Michelle, particularly when we're talking about road closings, the Oaks Ames Hall, et cetera, So I can help out with
We need
that.
to make sure we get the roads closed earlier this year, because we had people setting up and they wouldn't close the roads yet for
All
us.
right.
That was a breakdown. Yeah, that was
So if we all look at our lists and see how we're doing, should we set up a meeting in like 2 weeks for all of us to get together and see where we are?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hopefully what we'll do is reach out to others. If I can reach out to Karen, Ally, and Kathy and just tag them. So Liz, if you want to share this document, right? And then we can.
Yeah, I put it in the chat. I turned it into a Google Doc.
And if you share the Trello board also, or whoever.
I put it in the chat.
Okay.
I tried to
Well,
open it and I couldn't.
doesn't the chat disappear when we leave? Can we
It would be
email it?
better to summarize all of these in an email so we permanently have the links.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back and forth. Hold on. Let me see if I can use this.
Well, a lot of these links we could attach and embed in this task for Pride planning and work off of this document with hyperlinks.
Yeah. Okay. And let me see. Let me just find the email. It's not letting me.
So not to put anybody on the spot, but Bob and Kiana, do you want to join any of the groups that have people already volunteered for? Is there any area you think you would be helpful in?
Well, I was looking, for me, I was wondering when it comes to publicity, what's the key to making people aware that we're having the event?
We could put
And
the town crier,
Yeah.
have the list of people who volunteered for yard signs before.
right. I think the yard signs are probably the most effective advertising piece. But the problem is, because people need to be seeing them, and they should be in a vicinity that that's heavily traveled by traffic. People seeing them. But does that
You always want to have the yard signs on main roads, because you're absolutely right, Bob, that's the best way. Who did we have? Do we know who we had print those signs last time?
It should be in the Trello board.
But to go back to Kathy's question, so Bob, if you were interested, like just in handling the yard sign component of it, right? So ordering them, getting them to people, thinking about areas of town, I don't know, knocking on their doors. I mean, I don't know what's been done in the past.
Yeah, I think to me, that's the key to advertising. If people are so busy with everything in their lives, they're driving along and they see these signs and it gives them an idea that there's some event going on that they want to.
That we put flyers up at.
Yeah, they were also, that's why you have we had the handouts and then we had the stuff that we put on social media. Right. So even the town, I wanted to say, had promoted, it's just the Y had put things up there. That goes to the community outreach. The schools, they couldn't do much just because of their being.
So Bob, did you volunteer for the yard signs?
Yeah, if you give me the information as to where we went in the past, and
Will do.
we got them, and I can concentrate on that.
Created a list. There's a link there in the chat. We created a list and we double checked with people that they were willing to take a sign, and then we took turns going to deliver signs.
Yeah. But where did most of them go? Did they go just to anyone who was willing to put a sign up?
Yeah, we just started with people that we knew. If you click on that link, you'll see we had kind of a running document, a potential person, an address, who was responsible for dropping it off, picking it up. and it changes because sometimes people move out, other new people move to town that might be supporters. We could ask allies if they're on a main road.
Yeah, I think once we have the list of who's done it in the past, I mean, I think I walked up just on Main Street and they put stuff in, which was super helpful.
I do think too, a lot of people see that town crier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think social media is huge, you know, Facebook, Town Crier, you know, maybe the senior citizen letter that goes out once a month, just stuff like that.
I think the high schools were helpful, like the individual groups within the high schools, even if the high school couldn't do it. And the students knew about it anyway, because we usually reach out to them for volunteer hours. Because they need it for honor society. But I also wonder too, most of the people who show up have young kids. So sometimes the daycares are super helpful because every parent's looking for something to do with your kid.
All right, so that's a granular discussion we can get into a little bit later.
Okay.
I can help anywhere, wherever, but I'm going to be out of town most of May, so I can't really do anything physically. And I did help put the yard signs down last year, but I mean, I can help with the vendors or making phone calls or contacts, but I will be out of town the majority of May.
Food or community vendors, which is of more interest?
Vendors.
When I think, I'm just saying.
What was that, Beth?
I said, when I see community, I see Kiana. So I think that might work, right? Because it sounds like Michelle has a lot of the food vendor stuff covered.
All right. Well, I am happy to work with Kiana on that. That would be great.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. We'll figure it out. All right. So I'm updating that on the Google Docs side, which again, Beth will have all of these links and we'll send them out to everyone in email so we have it in a more permanent location.
Yeah,
I'm happy to check with BSU to see if we have a Pride Center, see if they want to come down again. I know they came last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they usually do. They've been good. Stonehill, the issue is they're usually not in
Session.
But not Wentworth, Wheaton has come. BSU has usually always come in the past, which has been super helpful. So, I'm just trying to copy the.
Oh, and who's right by BJ's? Is that Massasoit that they have like a office location there or something in that office building, like right across from the whole BJ's conflicts?
It might be.
That's Kiana and I are on it. We'll cover it.
Okay. Kathy, you're on mute.
Can we schedule a follow-up meeting?
Yeah, I'm copying links if folks want to look at.
All right, Kathy, you schedule the follow-up meeting. Can I just ask something though? And Craig, this is maybe a question. If the entire Human Rights Committee is now doing Pride, this is really a meeting of the Human Rights Committee,
right.
Is it not?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so we would have one agenda item, which is Pride planning,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have done subcommittee meetings in the past.
But when there's
But not the whole committee.
We're now the whole committee doing this as opposed to a subcommittee.
Right.
And the subcommittee included maybe non-HRC members, but for open meeting law purposes, if we are all planning this, then it's the same as our regular meetings in terms of posting agendas and notice and stuff.
So Kathy, when do you want to meet again? What's your suggestion?
My suggestion is in 2 weeks.
Same day, same time?
Fine.
That's tax day. Is that going to affect anybody?
No.
Huh? Y'all be choking on the, the idea that we're supporting.
I will
this?
say, I mean, candidly, I have a Tuesday night commitment usually. But if there-
Pickleball,
it is, yeah.
And it's in Westwood? Is it in Westwood still?
It is. It is.
You can't go to the local, you can't, go to our local club now?
I don't
Well,
mind
I
switching
do.
to another day.
I do. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can switch to a different day, or I can just do it from there.
no,
I have a commitment that night
all right,
on the 16th. Are you talking about?
No, 15th,
On the
April
15th.
15th, tax day.
No, 15th, I'm all set. Yep, that's good.
So we want to do it at 7:00 on the 15th. Is that okay with you, Beth?
6:30.
6:30, same as these.
I'm
Can we
sorry.
can we do the 14th? Because Beth, you said you have something on the 15th, right?
I can make it work.
Oh, she's playing pickleball, Kiana. Come on.
Hey, you gotta get her exercise. I'm not coming
All right.
in here pickleball. She's always talking about it.
Who can do the 14th?
All right, I can do the 14th.
Do the 14th as well.
All right, Beth.
Thanks, Kathy.
Flying out
So it's a
loud.
Monday.
Yeah, okay. 14th is a Monday, all right? 6:30?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I emailed Quick some of the links, and then I put it into a different doc so we can kind of the additional links from that. So I'll go through a little bit more. Okay. All right. So now we have, next is the annual report. I think this is just left over. Michelle and I put that in. I don't think that there were any comments that we had. Treasurer update, Kathy, you got anything?
Nothing new, $6,766.97.
We might be
that
able to
include the
all
grant?
recite it.
Does that include the grant, Kathy? Or is
Yes, that
separate
includes
from-
the grant.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any general updates? I just have one. I don't know if y'all saw it today. It was news from the governor that there are budget cuts because of Department of Ed kind of cutting off funding. I forget how many millions of dollars from Massachusetts. That does not impact the town of Easton. It was more of like Greater New Bedford Greater New Bedford, Fall River. Those bigger school systems seem to be the one taking the hit. However, I think my thought would be please continue to watch, because that funding got shut off Friday night. And if the federal government continues to shut off additional educational funding, it could impact a lot of what we have in the town as well. So not specifically Pride related, but I wanted, because folks had reached out when they saw the headline about X amount, millions of dollars cut from Massachusetts. That does not impact Easton at this point. But I think it's helpful to know that eventually it could in some way, shape, or form, but nothing yet.
Beth, if there's cuts to education funding, it's going to impact us because it's going to limit the amount of dollars that the state is able to put into Chapter 70, and we get very little out of Chapter 70 as a minimum aid community to begin with. So it could very well impact us.
But this money directly goes to specific communities. So this was the one for extra math help, counseling. I forget the exact title. I can look it up right now.
Were these grants? Is that what they were?
Yeah, they were
individual
from the federal
grants?
government. So this is, the word is, it's 106 million K through 12 education funding for Massachusetts, funding support of students, mental health supports, tutoring, school security, and building upgrades. It was part of the Federal Education Stabilization Fund. So that's what they shut down. But the specific grants, when you kind of go through, the communities that were specifically, it's the impacted school districts, so because it went straight to those direct school districts: Springfield, New Bedford, Fitchburg, Everett, Revere, Boston, Leominster, Stoughton, Worcester, Chelsea, Lawrence, Drake, Holyoke, West Springfield, Lynn, Fairhaven,
Okay, so, yeah, okay.
So that isn't, but I do think it is a warning sign for everybody. And I don't know if it will be something that gets brought up in the school committee meeting or even the budgeting, but I think it's just something for us to keep a watch on as well.
Well, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it doesn't impact us going forward. Because if they have to add money to these schools, if they're valued services, then they're gonna take it from other places, which includes Easton. So I can tell you it's gonna impact us, but it may be too early to jump on that one yet, but, I suspect there's gonna be some more lawsuits too, like the 23 states that have sued about health, the cuts in health and human services.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, 1,000 employees laid off today? But it's just something to watch, and it usually happens on a Friday night where they shut off the funding. So at this point, there's nothing specific targeted at Easton, so I just wanted to make a comment about that because I saw the news and I know that folks had questions. And anything else? Any other updates? Public participation, I don't see anyone. So I think we're good. We'll see you, well, I gotta take a vote to adjourn, but then we'll see you on the 14th and I'll reach out
What's our May meeting? Like our
yeah.
non-Pride meeting?
That would be, let me look at my calendar. That'll be the
May 6th?
May
May 6th.
Oh, that's right. The rec is May 13th.
All right.
So I'll reach out to the town and would folks prefer to be in person on the 6th?
Sure.
Might be helpful for us all to get together.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I can reach out to the town as well. So without further ado, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Okay, let's call it.
Audrey, yes.
Bornstein, yes.
Devonshire, yes.
Durant, yes?
Emmons, yes.
Adam J, yes.
Debbie Downer, Foster, yes.
You are not Debbie Downer.
You're just realistic.
Yeah, your former CEO.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Good night.
Have a good night.
14th. Bye.